poll showing that President Biden's foreign policy approval is down. In a new AP poll just out in June, it was at 50%, now at 47%. And that doesn't include the week that we've just had. There's going to be, I guess, some briefings for members of Congress. What are you expecting to hear or hope to ask?
Well, I have many things that I hope to ask. And before I even start, I do want to give thanks to all the American troops that have served in the last 20 years and those that are still serving today, because they have kept us free from a terrorist attack. But was this whole event failed leadership? You asked the questions that we want to ask. Was it failed leadership? Was it poor intelligence? We know from Mike Pompeo that under their plan, the intelligence community talked about a sequenced, measured withdrawal, and there were conditions on the ground and consequences if the conditions weren't adhered to. Was this just poor planning or poor execution, or was advice just completely ignored? Or does the commander-in-chief possibly not care? That's a question we want to understand. Do you not care about the people, the American people that are in Afghanistan and for our Afghan allies? Was it all about having some event on 9/11 to say that we're out? The president said that chaos was predicted. I want to know what was done to try and minimize the chaos. In April, we formed a bipartisan group, and it was a group to honor our promises to our Afghan allies. We spoke with the administration. We sent letters. We were promised that we were going to do everything we could to get people out. We even passed legislation that would cut down the bureaucracy in order to get our Afghan allies out. And for that matter, we need to get our U.S. people out. We have let down NATO. We have let down the good people of Afghanistan. We need to reestablish our moral reputation and our strength throughout the world. American lives matter, Afghan lives matter. And right now, China and Russia, they're not leaving Afghanistan. They're moving right in. You just discussed our assets. I asked last week through the Intelligence Committee to get some estimate of everything that we have left behind that now are likely going to fall in the hands of the Taliban as well as China and Russia. We haven't held China accountable for COVID. We let Russia reestablish their pipeline. We now have 7,000 troops gone back into Afghanistan. Maybe we need 50,000 troops. We don't leave people behind. Is that what we are saying we are doing right now? I don't know how much more failure the American people can take. And you talked about that poll. I expect it to go down. And I expect it to go down in a bipartisan fashion because Americans across the board are very upset with this. And frankly, I don't think a lot of people want to hear too much about a $3.5 trillion progressive wish list when we are in crisis and Americans are in crisis. I got a text from one of the interpreters that I supported leaving Iraq, and he said he is very, very disheartened. He said the Americans' morality is being tested, and so far, it's not doing so well.
Well stated. The weakness, the trust, the morality, all questions to be answered, Brad. Have you been in contact with your Democratic counterparts? And if so, do they feel the way you do?
Yes, they do. At least I can tell you that firsthand with those that have served in theater, especially those that served in Afghanistan. And that's who formed this group, because we had the concern. We know what the situation is like on the ground. And, we wanted to avoid all that chaos. We wanted to give people that served us the opportunity for freedom that we promised them. And now we've walked away from that and made it virtually impossible. And yes, we do extract people from dangerous situations. We have done that repeatedly throughout our history as a military. And we see that the UK and the French are trying to do that. Right. Why aren't we doing that? Yeah. I'm sorry, but this damages our reputation even more and more. Doubt. American people are being so let down by this.
Thank you for your service, Brad. And thanks for coming on today. Congressman Wenstrup, the Republican from Ohio. Thank you. We'll speak.